Good evening, everyone. It's Wednesday, and it's Sharing Wellness, Promoting Health Wednesday. And tonight I'm going to talk about breathing and lower respiratory support. Stephen Horn did a newsletter on that, so I'm going to share that information with you. So do you struggle to breathe? Because there are some natural solutions to offer support for lower respiratory disease. Lower respiratory disease actually affects about 5% of the population. And 2 of the top 10 leading causes of disease actually involve the lungs, like chronic lower respiratory disease is the 4th leading cause of death, and pneumonia is the 9th leading cause of death. So there's general aids you can use, herbally, essential oil-wise, to support lung health. There's also some things that you can avoid, like respiratory irritants, smoking, when you're around paint fumes and artificial fragrances and solvents. You want to make sure that you're protecting your lungs. You can use a lot of indoor plants to help filter the air. There's a lot of spider plants and ferns that work really well for that. You can also use an air purifier if you live in an area with high air pollution. Also, the colon and the lungs are part of the metal element in TCM, and you can go back and listen to the metal element video. So inflammation of the GI tract or dysbiosis or other GI tract problems can contribute to some respiratory issues. So you want to keep your gut healthy with eating whole foods like lean proteins, healthy fats, whole grains, and make sure you're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables and maybe taking enzymes, probiotics, and getting enough fiber. It's also really important for overall health as well as lung health to stay hydrated. So mucus in our bodies actually mostly water, so keeping the lungs hydrated helps the mucus trap and remove irritants. And if you want to add a little salt, it helps increase mucus production and has a natural decongestant action. Sometimes when I'm stopped up, I'll use a nasal spray or a neti pot with salt. So there's a lot of lower respiratory diseases that affect a lot of people, like a chronic cough. And the cough reflex is what helps to get thick or stuck mucus moving again. It's an involuntary violent expulsion of air from the lungs, and it's usually very non-productive, meaning that there's no mucus that you're coughing up. So things that can help are, expectorants and decongestants, because they loosen or thin your mucus and help you expel it. There's also a lot of herbs that also help your body act as expectorants and decongestants, like wild cherry bark, horseradish, herba santa, pine bark. And then there's some moistening expectorants to make your mucus a little more moist. Mullein or mulin's my favorite, marshmallow, licorice, astragalus. And then since we're talking about TCM, the metal, you may, if you need to moisten, you may want to look for a TCM metal increasing formula to help with the moisture. There's also aromatherapy and antitussives, which help suppress the cough, like lobelia or licorice. You may also want to inhale some essential oils in a steam, like eucalyptus, rosemary, or thyme. Those are really opening to the sinuses. Many other people also get bronchitis, which is an inflammation of the tubes of the lungs, and it's usually caused by irritants, allergic reactions, or infection. And this inflammation involves swelling, and this swelling constricts the airflow, making breathing more difficult. May also cause more mucus production as the body tries to flush these things irritating from your lungs. So if you have a bronchial infection, you may want to get an antibiotic. Naturally, you can try something like garlic or golden seal, echinacea or elderberry. If you want to reduce the swelling, cordyceps works really well, marshmallow, mullein or mullein. And then there's some Ayurvedic formulas out there that also work really well. A lot of people also have asthma, which involves chronic inflammation of the bronchial passages. So when you have asthma, you have like reduced airflow due to swelling and sometimes mucus congestion. So under stress or an asthma attack can occur where the bronchial passage is narrow, so it makes breathing a struggle. So very severe asthmatics, sometimes have an inhaler or steroids or something to reduce that inflammation. And again, herbs like cordyceps, turmeric or cumin, vitamin C, lobelia may help. And then since we have too much constriction and we're talking about the metal element with Chinese, we want to reduce that. So you may want to look for a TCM metal reducing formula to help. Also, if you have asthma, there's a lot of lifestyle remedies, making sure you're hydrated, eliminating foods that may cause some allergies or inflammation in the body, like dairy or wheat. Avoid sugar and refined carbs. You may also want to strengthen your adrenals. And you would use adaptogens, things like ashwagandha and those kind of things, vitamin Bs to support those adrenals. A lot of people get pneumonia. It is like the 9th leading cause of death, and it's typically caused by a viral or a bacterial infection, and it causes fluid to accumulate in the lungs, making breathing difficult. I had pneumonia along with the pandemic virus in September, so it did make breathing very difficult for me. And when you're elderly and you get pneumonia, it can often occurs with other complications. So again, pneumonia is usually caused by viral or bacteria. So there's garlic, antibiotics, steroids, inhalers, essential oils like pine or eucalyptus, thyme, rosemary. I love cedar wood and frankincense. Then there's things to help you cough everything out, like horseradish, fenugreek, fennel, mullein. There's a lot of herbal companies that offer combinations. And then there's also pleurisy, which is an inflammation of the tissues that cover the lungs and line the thoracic cavity. I've never had it. My father had it when I was in high school, and he said it was extremely painful and very difficult to breathe. It may also be cough and collection of fluid or fibrous tissue in the thoracic cavity. So helpful remedies for pleurisy is an herb called pleurisy root, or fenugreek, lobelia, marshmallow to soothe, wild cherry bark, yarrow, MSM, and vitamin C. MSM is really good, really helps with allergies and swelling. And then a lot of people have COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. And those are like adult asthma, chronic bronchitis, emphysema, which is slow developing lung disorders, farmer's lung, those kind of things. And that usually includes coughs with mucus, shortness of breath, fatigue, lots of respiratory infections, and wheezing. So if you do have a problem with asthma or any of these lower respiratory diseases, you want to make sure if you smoke, stop smoking, stay hydrated. Make sure your gut health is where it needs to be, and you're having everything, your colon's rolling. You want to eat a healthy diet with lots of fruits and vegetables, and eliminate common allergy-causing foods, particularly wheat, dairy, and sometimes for people, soy. So again, our moistening expectorants would be mullein. Our lung tonics would be like astragalus, cordyceps, or a metal increasing formula from TCM. Lobelia also helps the bronchioles open up. Wild cherry bark, is in a lot of cough syrups because it helps with that. And then there's emphysema, which is the most common form of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It's where the inflammatory process in the alveoli have a lot of tissue breakdown. They lose their elasticity, fluid accumulates, and you get a lot of labored breathing. So horsetail, the herb horsetail helps with that, and mullein helps, and slippery elm, which is very soothing. So I hope you found that informative on some herbs that can help loosen things up. And if you're too loose, you may want to reduce with the TCM for metal. If you're too constricted, you may want to look at a metal reducing or increasing formula. So I hope that helps. I hope everybody has a happy holiday. I'll be back with a Facebook Live toward the end of December, around I think 2 weeks from tonight, which I think would be the 29th. And we're going to talk a little bit about tummy troubles and stomach health. Thanks for watching.